Okay, welcome to another Ranger Auto video. Today we're working on an 06 Silverado 4.3. We got to change the thermostat on it. And this radiator is supposed to have a drain plug in it, but it does not. It's supposed to be on the driver's side down low, and the only thing there is a hollow hole. I suppose if I wanted to take the time, I could probably drill that hole out and put a drain plug in it, but it's original to the truck and I am not damaging it. So to get this system dropped down to where we can get the radiator out, or get the thermostat changed, we're going to have to pull the radiator hose off the lower half of the radiator. So the way I usually do it is I'll take my vice grips, I'll clamp that band clamp, and I'll pull the band clamp back with the vice grips, and then I'll pull the hose right off the radiator and let it drain into my drain bucket. Alright, I got my pliers clamped. Usually you'll slide the hose clamp back. This one doesn't want to slide back, so we're just going to grab the hose and pull it off. I'm going to try to get out of the way here so you can see. There it goes. And let's fill up our bucket and put it all over the ground. So that's what we do here. Sorry, Greta. I tried my best. Let that drain completely. Oh my goodness. Might have to get another drain bucket. Let me go grab another drain bucket real quick. Oh goodness. We got a heck of a mess under here, don't we? Make sure we got all the coolant out of it. I didn't realize this truck used so much coolant. Alright, well, good thing is, since this truck's got different colors of coolant in it, we're going to go ahead and flush it for the winter, which was part of the job anyway. So I got to get you repositioned so that we can get started on getting the thermostat pulled. Thermostat on this one's real easy. I'll show you where it's at here. Make sure I'm familiar with this. Now the theory is you follow the upper radiator hose and it takes you to the thermostat. That only works on certain engines. This one it works because it's right underneath that cover right there. So next step is, while we're letting our antifreeze drain, I need to get some tools gathered up. We need to get you in a good position where you can see what we're doing here. We're going to change that thermostat. So let me figure out what size those bolts are and we'll get started. Okay, so in order to get to the thermostat, we got to take some stuff off. So first thing we need to do is we need to get these connectors loose. I'm not going to worry about disconnecting the battery because we don't need to. These connectors, just like this, you got a couple of them on this bracket. We got to move this bracket. So we'll just pull these apart, take our wires out. I'm just gonna, go. And then we got to get, there's a nut here, and a nut back there on this side. Yeah, we're going to have to pull that nut. And then we can lift that bracket off for the throttle cable. We can set that throttle cable up over top of the engine there. We'll get that taken care of real quick. So I'll show you here. Alright, one of them's back here. Right back here on right behind this snorkel tube. So we got to take that one loose. Get it broke loose with your ratchet, then you spin it out with your socket. And then if you want to, you can have a magnet on standby. Pop that nut up with. Magnets become your friend when you do work like this. You can do that with it. You set it over on your bench. And you set your magnet over there so you don't lose it. And then you follow your cable around. We got one right up here in the front we gotta get. We gotta get this one. We're still draining. Can you hear it? I didn't realize this truck had so much coolant in it. This one you should be able just to grab with your finger and just pull it off of here. Like this. Set that on your table. Then there's one more. It's right up here on the top. Right up there. And then this bracket assembly should come off. Yep. Now pull this bracket assembly off. We're going to take it and set it to the back. Then there's a stud on the back side. So we're going to pull this bracket up. See? And we'll take this bracket, we'll get our alternator cable out of it. We'll just kind of, because it's attached to our throttle, we're going to set it off to the side like that. We got a stud right here we got to grab. So we got to get that stud pulled, and then that'll move this bracket out of the way where we can get to our thermostat. There's a little bit of tear down. Now if you don't want to do all of this, you might be able to get in there with a 13mm stubby wrench and get it broke loose with a stubby wrench, but if it's been on there a while, I don't think that's going to happen, so that's the best way to do it. Alright, then we can pull this bracket off. Let's see, make sure it's not attached to anything else. Feels like it might be attached to something else. There's a bolt. There's a nut right down there we got to get. Right there on the throttle. Or right there on the intake. Got to pull that nut real quick. There we go. That off of there. Have your magnet on standby here. There's that one. That should be all of them. Yep. And now we can move our bracket. Now as far as taking the throttle cable loose, if you want to take the throttle cable off, you can. If you can work around it, I would just as soon leave it attached because you can move it around. But I think, just for safety's sake, I might just go ahead and just take that cable off. That means we got to pull this throttle body top off so we get to the cable. Let's see, that's going to be a pain to get back on. Probably not. Take that screw loose right there. Grab a flat screwdriver, unscrew that clamp right there, and then we can take that upper piece off. Then we'll unhook our throttle cable. We'll set this off to the side and start getting to our thermostat. Oh, nice. All my tools landing in the cooler. Yep. At least I know where they're at. Alright, we'll take that off. And we'll pick this up. Slide back. Takes that clamp loose. Take off your breather tube. There's your throttle body. Now we can go ahead and pull our throttle cable back, loop it around the outside, hold your throttle plate open, whip this around, slide it out of the slot, let it go, and your throttle cable's off, and just set this to the side like that. Now we got to push this up over our alternator, because that's what we do. Gotta get those bolts out now. Those are 13 millimeter. So let me show you how we do that. I apologize for the light in the background there. It's that time of year again. So, alright, and we go in here. Now you could use a longer extension if you want to. I'm just going to use this little 3-incher right here. Get down in there like that. Yeah, I think we'll go with the longer extension. Get in there like this. Break that loose. Do the other side the same way. And then we can... So these will either be bolts, or they'll either be studs, or they'll be nuts. It could go either way. You could have one stud and one nut, or you could have both studs, you could have both nuts. It'll go either way. Let me go get my electric ratchet and I'll be right back. Alright, we're all set to go now. Now on some of these trucks, they have a seal that goes around the thermostat. They also have a seal that goes around the housing. So as you're taking this apart, make sure you have all your parts. Now I only ordered the thermostat with the seal around it. So if I open this up and find that I've got to get a gasket, I'm going to have to order a gasket for it. Alright, now this truck was 2 studs. So this was a 2-stud truck. Well, that's actually because, as you can see on the end of that bolt right there, it's welded together. So now we're going to pick up our thermostat housing, and we're going to do 2 things. We're going to look at the orientation of the thermostat, and we're going to check for a seal. So pick this up. Look at that. It's actually it's actually glued to the bottom of the unit. So the way this thing goes is these parts here parallel. This is important. And as you can see, it's got a rubber seal on it, so we're gonna have to crack that seal. It's usually what a screwdriver's for. So I've never had to take the... Alright, so let's get up in here, find a spot that looks open, and just kind of get your screwdriver in there and just kind of rock it around a little bit. You'll get the seal broke free. You can see all the deterioration in there too. Sometimes if it gets real bad, you gotta go in here with your screwdriver and just pry back on it like that. It'll pop it right loose. We're gonna have to get our scraper out. We're gonna have to scrape that because we got a little bit of corrosion on the bottom of that housing. There it is. There's your thermostat. And let's look at it here for a minute. Let's go over to the bench and take a look at this thermostat real quick so we know what we're doing. All right, this episode of On the Bench is brought to you by Thermostats. I got nothing for you there. Okay, so this one looks like it may have been replaced at one point. It is stuck open because this should be, let me zoom it back that so you can see what we're doing here. This should be longer, so it is stuck open. It's probably why it never overheated. It never got the temperature either. So we're gonna have to get the wire wheel out and wire wheel the bottom of that thermostat housing so we can put the new thermostat in. So I'm gonna go get some parts and I'll be right back. All right, we are back with parts. Here's your seal. This is part number 2233. Here's our new thermostat, 195. Part number 3399. This is about all Murray's good for is their thermostats. As you can see, that's our thermostat. So what's supposed to happen is when this thing gets hot, it's supposed to open that valve up. And it's opening, but it's not opening far enough. So that's why we're changing it. So this is your seal. It's got a groove in it. That groove goes like this. Some of these come with this attached, some of them don't. But if you get one and you got to put the seal on it, that's how you do it. So let's take this over to the truck. All right. All right, so let's take a look at our mating surfaces here. Yeah, we're gonna have to get the brush out and clean that up. So let me go get a brush. I'm gonna get the flat brush. Well, no, because that's gonna catch. I'll brush them right back. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to clean that surface up. You need one of these, and then you want to get you some towels or rags, and you want to get some brake clean. And I'm gonna show you how we do this. So you set your drill down in here. You get it past your alternator wire. Get down in here, and then you want to just kick it on. And just buff it up. There it is. And take your other side here like that. Nice and shiny. That's what we want. I'm going to show you what you do with the brake clean. You grab an extra rag, you want to keep it dry. Alright, you take your brake clean. You're going to fold your towel up like this, right? Spray the brake clean on the towel. And then you can take your towel and you're going to wipe your edge off here like that. Clean your surface off. you don't want to spray the brake clean down inside the intake, because that'll contaminate your coolant. You don't want contaminated coolant. See that? You want to go up here and you want to wipe the bottom of this off too. And you want to flip it over and you want to catch the other side with it too. Here we go. We're ready for install. Got to clean that surface, because if you don't, it will leak. Guaranteed, it will leak. Alright, so on the other thermostat, it was sitting like this. So we got to set it back that way. So that sits down in there just like that. And then we take our housing and we stop it right up there on top. Now this next part usually gets people in trouble because they forget about metals. You got a steel bolt going into an aluminum housing. You want that thing sitting straight up and down. And you want to thread these in by hand. You don't want to thread these in with an impact gun. Now you can tighten them up with an impact gun if you want to. I wouldn't do it though, but so take one hand, hold it up like that, put your bolt through. Get your thread started. Once you got your thread started, make sure that the threads go in. This should spin freely since you broke the rust out of it. If it doesn't, back it out and try it again. Now you want to put this in by hand, down as far as you can go with it. I think there's a torque spec to this. I think it's like 18 foot-pounds or something. I don't know for sure. Okay, so we got it down. Okay, so we got a little bit of room down here. We'll tighten that up with the gun. Now you want to take your other bolt, set it in the back, and it should line up. Back bolt, if you want to, you can put your socket on it and just spin it down by hand. Don't use a gun on it. That's where people get in trouble, because what happens is they strip out this intake, and then you're either retapping it or you're throwing it away, and you don't want to do either one. So because these have to be tightened up a certain manner here, we're going to go ahead and do it with the ratchet. I'm going to snug these because they were, alright, that one's good. Make sure these are nice and snug. You want to go over them. Make sure they're both equal, because if they're not, they will leak. Okay. That's what the torque value is for. You can torque both sides of it, and then that way you know you got it. But we're not torquing them, so we're going to be okay there. Now we got to put our brackets back in. Alright, so let's get our cables back around here. So we got one cable here. We got one cable here. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect my throttle cable. That way I don't have to fight with it later. And then this goes on these two studs here. There we go. Okay. Gotta get it out, get it underneath the air conditioning line. Looks like he's gonna need a cable soon. Put our bracket down on our studs. There we go. And then of course our stud for the other bracket goes in that hole there. So let's get our stuff put back together here. Grab our 10 millimeter. Oh, it fell in the coolant earlier. That's right. Put our nut back on back here. Do this part with the the intake cover off, or the throttle body cover, so that way you can get to all your bolts a little easier and you're not having to fight through stuff. Now this bottom screw here, or this bottom nut, you just want to take one finger and just kind of slide it across like I did. That's how you get that one done. Then you want to reach down in your coolant, grab your ratchet out of there as it's soaking in coolant. The other rag you got is to wipe your ratchet off with, if you didn't need it to clean your thermostat with. Now this truck, as you're going along, this is your standard burp system. So basically that comes down to, you put your funnel on and you let it run and you burp it. Keep an eye on your temperature, make sure your temperature don't get too high. After you've burped it, you're done. Check your heat, make sure your heat's good. You gotta have good heat. See, that lined up that bolt hole for me, so I just gotta put this back in the hole. This is another spot that people trip on, is this stud right here. You don't want to strip out the hole in this throttle body or you'll just have a bad day all the way around. Put it in by hand and then tighten it down. Alright, that one's on. Now you can grab our other bracket. Get our cable out of the way here. This alternator cable likes to get in the way, so gotta pull that up and around. Bring this bracket back down. Make sure your air conditioning. See, I was thinking about doing this in the beginning of the video, just unplugging that clip, because then that'll wrap around. Now that we've gotten this far, I don't think I'm going to worry about it though. But that is an idea you can do. Or you can do this. Take it down a little bit down the line there and pull this back around. And then this bracket goes on that bolt hole right there, and then it also goes into, and let's see, we're going to have to pull that pin out real quick. That way it'll sit down. Okay, let me get you in a spot here where you can see that bracket a little bit better. Zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, there's our bracket right there. We're working up here. These go up like this and they pinch this together, and then you can lift that up and out of there. See? Needle nose are the best tools for that. See, now we can move this bracket to where we need it to go. We got to get this, well, let's see, let's take this pressure switch loose here on the back of this air conditioner so we don't break anything. And then we'll go ahead and we'll unhook this switch here. If you're able to navigate past all this, then feel free to do so. But if you are like me and you need to take some stuff loose to put stuff back, then this is how we do it. There we go. All of our air conditioning electrical is right here. Set that off to the side. The only thing we can't do is pull that pressure switch, because once we pull the pressure switch, we got to change the O-ring. I don't think I have any O-rings for that. See that? Take your wires loose and you can put that bracket back on. Now, of course, we'll put all that back on here in just a second. So we got a nut over here on the throttle body. And we got this nut over here on the throttle body. And we'll just spin these down by hand. You want to tighten this one up first. because this is going to set where this other one goes. You don't want to tighten up the one with the slide in it first, because if you do, you might not get this other one tightened up. So you want to do the one with the fixed post first, and then the slide second. Something you learn over the years. See, because this one's automatically lining up now because it's using that one as a pivot. And tighten that up. Don't have to do it super tight, just tight enough to hold the nut in place. Alright, and then we got to put our electrical back in our connections here. So our alternator goes back in this first one here, and that snaps on. Our air conditioning goes into this one here. We got to plug our AC back in here. This one is easy to do. And that one closed on me, so we got to open it back up. There we go. Open that up. And we put this one through there. And then we'll lock that back down. This comes back over. We're going to put it, let's see, probably want to go below the, we want to go below the cable. That snaps back in there, and then this here goes into this piece here like this. And you can check it to see if it's working right by hitting the throttle, hitting the gas pedal. And if this doesn't move in the right manner, then you want to put this up above the AC. But the way that it's shaped, I think it's going to go fine like this. I think we'll be okay with that. So next step is we got to put our top back on our intake. Now this one has this clip on the back. So what you're going to do is you're going to slide this clip in, and then your holes right here, that's going to go over top of your throttle body. So it's going to go something like this. So thump, see it locked right down. Then you can put your intake tube back on from your air box. You got this vent tube on the back here you got to plug back in. Then you got your big screw that goes in the back down here. That's what holds this all together. And then just tighten that up, and then you got to line your clamp up, grab your screwdriver, which is underneath everything else. Tighten up your clamp. And then when this is done, we're going to put some brake clean down in there to get all that coolant that we didn't make into our bucket down there. Alright, so now we got to clean all that up. So we're going to show you how we clean all that up. And back a little bit so you can see. Take your while that's dry, which takes a few minutes. While that's happening, we need to get down here. I'll show you where we're at now. You should see the lower radiator hose. Yep, you can see the lower radiator hose right there. And you can see that orange thing is our pick that fell on our coolant. So because this hose clamp didn't move, all we got to do is just pick our hose back up and stuff it back on the radiator like this. When that gets all the way on there, release your clamps and your radiator's back together. And we got a little bit of coolant in our vice grips, but that happens occasionally. Alright, so the next step is we need to fill this full of Dexcool. So I'm going to show you that real quick, and then I've got to bleed the system. I'll give you a brief explanation of how that works. And then I'm not going to show you guys because it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to bleed a system. So depending on how temperamental it wants to be, some of them bleed within 10 minutes, some of them take a whole hour. It just all depends. So I'll go get my funnel and I'll show you how we set the funnel up, and we'll start adding some coolant to it. So I'll be right back. All right, we got our funnel here. That's what I use. I love this funnel. I did find out something the other day about this funnel. It does not work on mid-90s Dodge trucks, the ones with the radiator cap. Apparently there's no fitting in here that makes it strong enough for that cap to tighten down. You can see I've used it so long that the plastic bag's starting to tear on me. So find the right end. That is not it. A lot of these GMs use part D, which is this one here. This is part D. Okay. And the goal here is that when you tighten it down, it's supposed to press that rubber seal in. That creates the seal. Cap D goes down here like that. That screws down on here like that. And then when you grab it, you shouldn't be able to shake it. See? That's nice and solid. Sometimes I'll put an extension on that. Sometimes I'll put an angle on it. A lot of times I just do this with it. And then I fill this full of coolant. Now this is a multi-step process, but when you're doing this for getting the system bled, you want to fill that up as high as you can. But you want to leave a little bit of room for it to bubble, because you got to have air places for it to burp. Sometimes if this thing gets really violent, I'll take the lid and put the lid back on it. Creates like a vacuum, and it kind of helps with putting this together. Now this is a half a gallon right here, so this ain't even a full gallon going into it yet. Alright, now I'll put my cap back in. I'll set this off to the side and I'll grab another gallon. Grab another gallon. Oh, this one's a little bit, got a little bit in it too, so I'll fill this one up. All GMs after 1986, unless specified, use Dexcool. If it's before 1986, you could put regular green in it. But after 1986, I do believe there is a sticker on most GMs that says Dexcool required for this vehicle. I know I've got that sticker on my 91 Buick. And of course it's on my Pontiac Grand Am that we just finished up for that trip. So like I said, this takes a while. After you put a little bit in, you want to look at the front of your tank because you've got cold fill on it. You want to go no higher than the cold fill line even when you're trying to bleed the system out. Because what you're going to do is you're going to start the truck up. See, we're not even there yet. We got a little bit more to go. So probably the rest of this gallon will fill that up for the cold fill line. So you're going to start the truck up. You're going to let it run. You're going to, watch the temperature gauge if it works. This generation's got the goofy gauge cluster in it. So if you have a working gauge, then you want to watch it. All right, we're coming up through the bottom. I can see it. You can see it coming in through the bottom down here. So we still got quite a bit of coolant to go. Oh yeah, we got quite a bit of coolant to go. I might actually run out of coolant this time. But anyway, you're gonna fill it up to right in here. You're gonna let it warm up, and then you're gonna just leave this out. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna bubble up through here. When you get all the bubbles out and it stops bubbling, you want to go ahead and put your cap back on, let it build up to pressure. If it's got cooling fans, you want to make sure that the cooling fans kick on and off one time. Turn your heater on hot, #1 on the fan setting. You can either have it on defrost or you can have it on vents, whichever you prefer. When you get heat coming out of those vents and it is really, really hot like it's supposed to be, you're done. Then you want to let it cool down and then check your coolant level and then top it off if necessary. And by top it off, I mean not like all the way to the top. I mean like if this is where your full cold is right in here, that is where you want to leave it. So I'm going to finish this up. And if something funny happens, I'll bring it back. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one. Also, while you're running, keep an eye on your thermostat. Make sure that doesn't leak. Usually on these newer ones, after you get those tightened down good enough, they don't leak. But I've had a few, mainly on Chrysler products, that like to leak. So GMs I've had no problems with. So I'm going to finish up this coolant service. And then this truck's got a couple other things that needs to get done to it. And I'm going to get those done. And I'll see you on the next one.